Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make a gada's gown. So first, we already have our fabric here with us today, and I'm going to be using Ankara fabric. So usually when you are making a gada's gown for a child, for an adult, you're going to use the person's hip, and here our hip is 30 inches. The hip plus the hip plus 10 inches is usually okay for a gada's gown, but we're going to be using the entire fabric since the remaining part that's going to be left can be reach up to a half length. I folded her material into four, and I'm going to subtract her half length, which is 12 inches, and her short gown length, which is 33 inches, plus 2 inches for folding allowance. That's going to be 35. So we'll place the half length at the top of the fabric, and then we're going to measure her short gown length and cut it off so that we can use the rest to cut her half length, which is the upper part of the body. After setting that aside, we're going to cut the upper part, which is the half length. So for the half length, we're going to be using her bust measurement, which is going to be the biggest measurement for the bust. Bust measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches. That's what we're going to be marking out here. That should be the entire fabric that we're using so that we do not end up wasting more material than necessary. So after that, you're going to measure the shoulder. The shoulder divided by 2 inches. You're going to measure it at the top of the fabric, and then you're going to measure the neck. When measuring the neck of an outfit, there's actually no standard measurements for neck size and everything, but you just have to just choose something that's working with you. So here I decided to use 2 by 2 inches because the neck is going to be not that open, it's just going to be a small size neck. We basically just need a small size neck for a child. After that, you go ahead to subtract half inch from the shoulder, and then you mark out the bust line. The bust line, you can actually get that with the round arm measurements divided by 2, and then you're going to measure the waist, and then you draw a straight line from the shoulder to the bust line. The reason why we subtracted half inch from the shoulder is because our shoulders are not straight, our shoulders are slanting downward. So you just subtract half inch because it doesn't slope all that much. After you've gotten your measurements, you've gotten the bust, we've gotten the waist, we're going to put an inch down from these pointed parts of the shoulder that we've connected to the bust line, and then we're going to create a curve so that's where we can be able to get our armhole, and then a curve also for the neck, and then we're going to cut it out. Now that we're done with the front aspect, we're going to also be folding out another fabric so we can cut the back. The back is usually bigger than the front because of the zip allowance, with the parts where or the space where we need to attach the zipper to the fabric so it can be worn properly. And then when we are done with that, for the zip allowance, you can make it 2 inches, you can make it 1 inch depending on what you're able to work with, but mine is 1.5 inch. And then we're going to cut out the neck a bit higher. The front neck was 2 inches by 2 inches, but for the back we're going to be using 2 inches for the depth, and then 1 inch for the height or length. Her waist divided by 8 is 3 inches. So that's how we're able to get our dart measurement. We're going to be using a straight dart. It's going to stop at the bust line. And we're going to slit the back part into two. For the lining, we're going to cut it the exact way it looks like for the front and for the back. We're also going to cut lining for the gathers, and it will be a few inches shorter than the gathers. Make our outfit look nice and firm, we're going to be using gum stay. Some people call it clothing gum. We're going to be attaching it and ironing it on the upper parts of the fabric. The baby dress we're making entails nets at the upper part of the half length, so we're just going to be cutting these nets, this polka dot net on top of it. And we just need a little piece for the upper part and then also for the sleeves as well. After cutting the net, I started to use pins to hold it because it was moving so that it will not move to where it's not supposed to. And I decided to take it to the machine to go and sew. After sewing the net, we're going to move up to the darts. We're sewing straight darts. We're going to be doing this for the two back sides and then also for the front before we now iron the soft gum stay on it. We're ironing the gum stay on the wrong side of the fabric. Just finish ironing the gum stay on the fabric. Now we're going to use the lining to turn it out, to sew it round, and then we're going to turn it out to the wrong side so it looks neat. Just know that everything we're doing at this upper part involves the front and then the two back sides. So we're just going to keep doing the same thing for the three of them. So I just finished sewing the lining on three sides and now I'm going to turn it out to take it for proper ironing and bring it back. After ironing, you place the back sides together and then the front part you're going to fold into two and then place it on top so that we can be able to get the zip allowance, what is left of. You mark it with chalk and then you sew it. After sewing, you open it out, you place both of them on top of each other and then you open up the shoulders of the back and the front. You're going to place them together and sew it like they have to match at the middle part, especially the joining in between the lining and the clothes. You're going to sew them together and then you're going to do the same thing for the other side. So this is how lining looks like. Everything is hidden inside. So next up is taking shape. You're going to measure her bust into 2 inches and then the remaining allowance you're going to split it into two and then you share some to the left side and share some to the right side. You're going to do the same for the waist and then we'll sew it out. After sewing, open up the allowance at the back and mark the middle so that you can know the middle part of the half length. We're going to attach a band on top of it. You just sew the band straight, round. It's about 2 inches when double, so it's 4 inches open. After the sewing, we're going to get our fabric for the gathers. This is it. For the gathers, you're just going to sew it straight. Make sure that your machine setting is at the highest, which is number 5 for an industrial sewing machine and the lowest for a butterfly sewing machine. You're going to sew, there's going to be thread behind. When you're done, you're going to be dragging the thread little by little. Please, when you're doing gathers, don't double stitch because when you drag the thread, it will not drag. When you're done adjusting the gathers based on the waist of the person you're making the clothes for, you're now going to attach it to the upper parts of your dress. Now that we're done, we literally have some thread, some, you know, this rough part of the Ankara fabric that is showing underneath and it's not looking presentable at all. So we're going to be attaching the lining at this upper part and then it turns out the other way to be covered. We're going to attach the lining. You can actually use your machine to do gathers, but I'm going to be using my hand to do hand gathers for the lining. Please note that your gathers should also be as full as the fabric itself or not other full, but it shouldn't be too tight inside that the person doesn't feel comfortable wearing it. After doing hand gathers, I folded the hem of the lining with 2 inches allowance. This is how our dress looks like, but this is the back. Oh, hold on, we're not done yet. Let's come back and finish it. We're closing up the zip allowance and for the fabric so that we can be able to fold the material itself. We'll measure her gown length, which is 33 inches, but what we ended up having here was 34. So I have 1 inch to fold. After folding that 1 inch, then we'll come back to install the zipper. Please, when sewing the zip allowance of a dress like this, do well to arrange so that the lining doesn't fold in another corner and then the dress is folding up in another corner. Like, make sure everything is arranged. Sometimes have pin it so that it's not confusing for you. For our zip allowance, I'm using 14 inches. So we'll double stitch it and open it up again so we can install our zipper finally. So this is our sleeve that we're going to be attaching to the armhole that we've already cut out based on our bust line, which is 6.5. And this is the final look of our dress. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Do well to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.